For this one, we've got a review of the Judge Dredd board game from 1982 by Games Workshop. With that, let's run the intro. And the gremlins still managed to get me. Anyway, welcome to Still Only 35 Cents. This is the Merry Monday Mailcall Show. Glad to have you with us. We have a couple of people in the room, so we'll do the intros first. And if you join, we'll pop you up on the screen. So first of all, we have Mike. How you going, Mike? Nice to have that wave. And then we have Richard. Good to see you, Richard. Welcome, both of you. I'm sure we'll have more join us over the course of the live. Again, the gremlins got me. I thought I had it planned this time, but it didn't work out. So yeah, welcome to Still Only 35 Cents. As I mentioned, we've got the Judge Dredd board game from 1982 to go through today, alongside a host of pickups, including a local comic shop in Brisbane that I recently visited as well. I was going to do a video on that one, but decided that I would do it as part of the Merry Monday Mail Call. I've got a couple of ideas for videos that will come out this week. I'm going to be doing a tag challenge, actually. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And I'll be inviting a few people. There'll be a few rules for the tag challenge. I want to get as many new YouTubers noticed as possible. So it's going to be a bit of a mix between established YouTubers and new YouTubers in the comics world. So we'll get that started. But before we kick off, the usual stuff. You hear me say this every week. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring that notification bell for future content. No little animation in this one, but we'll make do. We'll make do. Now let's try and switch these cameras so you get a sense of the pickups from this week. And apologies in advance. I have a bit of a cold, so I may be blowing the nose every now and again. It's freezing here in Melbourne, just for a bit of context. Everywhere else in the world seems to have summer. We have winter as at this point. So it's very, very cold. So let's put the share screen on and see if this works. And add back. And if I now click on this one, you get to see the full glory. There you go. It's pretty seamless now. So this is the Judge Dredd board game from 1982, as I mentioned. This is produced by Games Workshop. I picked this up in a UK auction recently. I thought it would be a good one. I'm looking for the role-playing game as well. There was a role-playing game as well. But this sort of piqued my interest. I never actually owned this when I was younger, so it's one of those that I just wanted to go back and pick up. It's got this great Brian Boland cover on the front. You can see the usual rogues gallery here. So you've got the Angel Gang, you've got Judge Death here, and a number of Judge Dredd's different rogues that he would battle over the years. So let's crack this thing open. I don't want to shake it too much because obviously the parts are still reasonably loose in here. I'll give you a sense. Beautiful, like it's not in great condition in terms of the box, but as I say, beautiful packaging for its time. Wouldn't mind getting a sealed copy if I could find one. You get your lovely instructions, with which I believe is from the front cover here is actually from American Graffiti, the issue where Chopper was introduced. So they've taken half the panel from that splash page there and put it on the instructions. But you get, I read through these the other day in terms of how to play the game. Haven't played it as yet, but intend to at some point. But what you do get is, we'll take this out. So you get all these crime cards, a number of different crime cards, and it tells you, and they're all illustrated on the back as well, which is what's really good. So artwork from the comic book that they throw in. So these are all the crimes that you can commit or are being committed in the game: murder, protection, burglary, robot smashing, tap, kidnap, armed robbery, teabagging, body sharking, old comic selling. I'm sure we'll all be guilty of that one. And what a nice cover to put on there as well. So you've got the first appearance of the DROKK judges in there. I think that's issue 228 from memory. I might be wrong. It's in the 220s anyway. Arson, blackmail, Moped Hijack, Murder, Perp Running, Mega City 5000. I think that's the race. So that's your crime cards. Let's see if we can pop those there so you can see them. Then we have the sectors that these events take place in. And as you can see here, you've got the Travel Bureau, Devil's Island, all the usual stuff from the Mega City 1 locales. Otto Sump's Ugly Clinic there. So they've taken a number of the storylines and converted them for the sectors. And then you have the perps, which in Judge Dredd, perpetrators, criminals. So you get all the criminals that you would see here. So Mantis Brothers, the Cleggs, Doomsday Dogs, the Angel Gang. There's the Angel Gang for you. Zit, Joseph Matouf. Let's just keep going through. Mahjong. Fink, Angel and Ratty. Carvox, All Up the Assassin. Where is it? Rico Dredd. Judge Dredd's clone. And somewhere in here is the most dreadful of all, Judge Death. Left him at the bottom there. And then you have these judge cards, which are essentially the different coloured judges that are within the game. So you'll see here, as I'll highlight, you all get, there are up to 6 players, I believe, and each one of those has a little dinky judge, plastic little dinky judge that you use to control your players. So that's why you have the different colours. Oh no, 5 judges. Sorry, apologies. I thought there was 6, but there's actually 5. And then you have your action cards. And again, these are pretty much all illustrated from the original comic book. So you get all of these characters and actions that have to be performed. There's Judge Hershey there. Let's just see if there's anything of note. But yeah, these are the actions that sort of direct the game. You've got the lawgiver there and the lawmaster. So yeah, this is all very cool stuff with really cool artwork on the cards. So those are your action cards. And then you've got your dice. And then on top of that, you've got a guide to all of the different cards in the deck. So this is good. So we've got more in the room. I'm just bringing that up now. Let's have a look. So we have Second Best Bob. Good to see you, Second Best Bob. How are you going? Great to have you on the stream. And Best Judge Dredd stories for newbies. I would always recommend going back to the beginning. Like, it's for me, if you can find, obviously 1 and 2 are incredibly expensive to buy. Oh, there are 6. I lied. Tell a lie. There you go. The 6th one's hidden in the bag. I didn't take it out. The best start I would always give is go back to the beginning with Judge Dredd and with 2000 AD, if you can. And if you can get the collected series, I'd be suggesting doing that. If money's an issue. I think in terms of stories, there's a number of arcs that are fantastic. The Judge Child storyline is good. The Judge Death one is without doubt my favorite. If you want to start, I would go with the Judge Death storyline. It's got fantastic art from Brian Boland. It's a very, very short, self-contained story. I think it was 4 issues or 5 issues at the time. And he was so popular they brought him back. And then you get the Dark Judge's arrival for the second part of the storyline. So those 2, I'd say if you wanted to start and you really wanted to get a sense of Judge Dredd, that's probably it. But you can't go wrong just diving into anything, sort of anything from, I'd say, 1 to 400-500 of 2000 AD. You get a real sense of, it was very much, that's the true Judge Dredd in my book, vintage Judge Dredd. So yeah, if you can go back and dig into those, that'd be great. What have we got here? I'm guessing because comics never got released in the games, were also not released in the UK. I think it was. I mean, the comics were released in the 80s, but not at this early stage. So I'm assuming you're probably right for this board game. It was very much probably just Games Workshop. I don't think Judge Dredd was widely known in the US at that point. I don't think the comic was launched until the mid-80s via Eagle Comics. So you're probably right there, Richard. But again, Rebellion have just put this game out again. So I think they've done a new reprint of it. So it's available. You can go and get it now, which is great. So, and this is the board that you get with your board game. So you can see here, it's a sort of map of Mega City 1 and the different sectors that you can put in. So general idea is that you are assigned a sector and a crime, and you have to go and solve it. And I think the winner of the game is the one that solves or defeats the most crimes. The object is to try and stay alive as long as possible. But I thought I'd share this with you because it's I'm quite happy to get a little sort of vintage Dredd in my life. Goes very well with the collection. And again, it's not, I wouldn't say there's necessarily original art in this, but apart from the cover, I'd say. But generally, you get a real sense of playing the game. And at some point, I'll have a game and play that with some friends or maybe the kids. But yeah, I thought it'd be a good one to share with you because it is a decent piece of memorabilia from Games Workshop. And as I say, I'm looking for the role-playing game that was also produced around this time as well. I used to have that, I think, from memory. That one I did have, but not this one. But yeah, super happy with these, with this game and getting it. It wasn't too expensive, which is great. And as I say, if you really want to dig in and get a copy of this, it is available via Rebellion at the moment, which is the new company that's taken on 2000 AD and are still publishing as we speak. But yeah, they're doing a lot of the sort of vintage stuff, and if you can grab a copy. But I prefer getting the original and keeping that. So that's that one. Thought you'd like that. And then what I thought I'd show you is I've got a couple of things. So this pile here is a stack that I got from a recent visit to a comic shop here in Brisbane. We'll go through it one by one, but I'll just bring up some details of the comic shop so you can see where it is and what it looked like. So if this works properly, you should be able to see this in a second. So let's remove this from the screen, remove add to stage, and if I do this, you should see that in crystal clear clarity now. There you go. So this is Fats Comics. It's in Annerley, Brisbane. Now I was just in Brisbane and I thought I'd wanted to sort of find some comic stores, and this one is one of those classics which does not do moderns. They are purely back issues store, which was fantastic because I was able to go through and see the books. But let me just see what we can find here. So that's the inside of the store, and as you can see, there's a plethora of back issues in this store. Some graded books, a little amount of statues, not too much, but essentially short boxes on the top and some long boxes on, but then underneath all of these drawers are also full of books. So I spent a good 2 or 3 hours in the store digging through the bins. Didn't do a video. Felt like I asked the owner, they were okay with me filming, but just battery was running low and I didn't have time. And as I say, so many to go through. So it didn't feel like it would be a useful exercise in this instance. But you can see here, it's quite a decent sized shop right in the middle of the outskirts of Brisbane. So it was a good one to sort of go digging through. And as you'll see here from the books that I got, pretty impressive in terms of the haul and the prices. So let me just go back to switch the screen. So let's just remove this, add this back to the stage, add this one. There you go. And we're back to the camera view. And then if I do this and this, there you go. So I picked these up. So the first pile here, these were in a $3 box. So they had $3 boxes and $2 boxes. We'll probably start with the $3 boxes. There were some that were individual prices, but this is a $3 box, which were hidden underneath the cover, underneath one of the cupboards. So I picked this one up. This is Marvel Tales featuring Captain Britain. This is a modern book of Captain Britain. What it reprints is the origin of Captain Britain, first and 2 issues of the UK magazine. And then it prints the Captain Britain crossover Marvel team-up book with Spider-Man. And then to close us off, I think it has the Excalibur annual within there. So a decent collection of stories in there for a Captain Britain fan. And then together with this Lee Hook cover that was created specifically for the book. So great to have that. That was $3. And then I was sort of digging through, and there was a whole host of these. My interest was piqued by these chrome covers. I'm sort of going through and sort of trying to pick up every now and again some of these chrome covers that were released in the 90s. I thought it would be really interesting for you to see. We also have Side Quest Comics in the room. That's great to see. Eric, how you doing? Hey guys, as a gamer, I've never seen this in the flesh. We'll have to look. I've got 2 reprints by Rebellion for Block Mania Dread game. That's another one I was looking for too. I haven't found that one as yet. But yeah, I'd love to grab that. Richard, I wish Captain Britain is used more in comics. He is underrated. He's absolutely underrated. It's a travesty. He needs to be out more. Again, I think that the moment Captain Britain is obviously Betsy, which I like the idea of Betsy having a larger role, but she should be Psylocke. She shouldn't really be Captain Britain. I think Captain Britain, you really need to sort of have that character. It'll be interesting what they do in the MCU and how that all works, whether or not Brian shows up as Captain Britain first. I just think their track records not great in terms of that stuff. SideQuest Comics, hidden boxes are where all the good stuff is. Exactly. And this is where these came from. So these $3 books, let's say I'm quite happy paying Aussie $3 for a Chrome Bloodshot Zero. Haven't read that yet. Went through it. And then we've got Geomancer Chrome cover. Valiant, both of these Valiant. This is number 1, featuring the Eternal Warrior. This was in the $3 box. I thought a die cut cover, I might as well buy this. So this is the Reign of Superman, Last Son of Krypton issue. This is Action Comics 687. Got a Mark Silvestri Cyberforce foil cover. This is issue 4 from volume 1. Got a Shadowhawk all black cover with that sort of silver over the top. Shadowhawk 2 from Image. There was Strife Strike File in there. As I say, $3 probably equates to about $2 in the US. So this is $2 bin diving for me. So really happy with that. And great for the collection. So this is Andy Kubert cover on there, and then a $3 Bernie Wrightson Twisted Tales number 2 cover. Couldn't turn that one down. Got a little bit of wear here, but still $3 for a Bernie Wrightson cover. That Twisted Tales, very happy to pick that up. Just move that to the side. Then there was a whole bunch of $2 books. I won't go through to the here we go. Here's all the $2 books. So bear in mind these are probably about $1, $1.50 USD. What's that? What is it called now? Captain Avalon. No, I think he's called. I can't remember what he's called now. He is called Avalon or something. And Betsy is Captain Britain. It's I sort of wish they'd revert back and make Betsy. Betsy was a strong enough character as it was, so she didn't need to be empowered. She was always a strong female lead, so it sort of defeats the object to me in some point. But who knows? I'm not the creator. That's up to them. One day I'll write some Marvel comics and I'll be able to recorrect and put Captain Britain out there a bit further. This one, I thought this was interesting. These were $2. They're in beautiful shape. This is Kazar the Savage number 12. This one's notable, and if you ever find this book in the wild, I urge you to turn to this page here. Now, the vast majority of these books had a blank panel here, So this is the error variant is more common. This is not common. I think 10% or something like that of the run had the red demon ink printed, but at some point in the run, either at the beginning they didn't put enough red ink on there, or the plate didn't exist. That this was white, so you didn't get the full effect of the story. So I went through these. There was about 5 of these in total, and most of them were the white panel error variants, which, as I say, are the most common. But if you look on Recalled Comics, this is listed on there, KZR 12. So I bought 2 of these because I was like, I've got a bit of a thing for collecting error variants as well, because they are less common. And so wanted to grab that copy. So I got 2 of those at $2, which I think is an absolute bargain when you consider that these are error variants in the first place. Also, decent condition. And then to go with that, obviously, we've got Belasco on the front cover here. And so I thought this one would be a nice one to go with it. A double-sized wedding issue of Kazar the Savage, issue 29, does have Belasco attacking Kazar on there. Picked up a copy of Stainless Steel Rat, which again is another reprint of 2000 AD stories. So this is their adaptation of Harry Harrison's Stainless Steel Rat. This is number 3. Got a $2 copy of Mephisto versus the X-Men. Again, not in super high grade, but decent copy regardless. So nice to read. More Judge Dredd. We've got Judge Dredd Crime Files. So again, this reprints some of the Judge Dredd stories in the earlier issues of 2000 AD. This one inside, it's got a Brian Boland cover, but the interior art is not Brian Boland. This one, given the X-Men 97 stuff, I thought it was a good pickup. I didn't actually have this one in the collection. I've got another. There's 4 issues of the Adventures of Cyclops. This is when Cyclops and Jean Grey are transported into the future and actually raise their son Nathan Summers, who later becomes Cable. So I loved this series and was collecting it when it first came out. So super happy to pick that one up, and very timely given the X-Men 97 storyline. Picked up this rough reader copy of Cloak and Dagger number 9. This one was illustrated by Art Adams throughout and is the Marvel 25th anniversary cover. There is only one Cloak and Dagger issue that was illustrated by Art Adams, and this is it. This has got Terry Austin cover as well. So this is a nice little reader for me to be able to put. Yeah, and look, I'm celebrating that I've got this book. You would have seen this on, I picked this up at Heroes, kind of really high grade copy of it. So glad to have this as a reader. You can see here it's got some writing on there, but happy to have that. This one I thought was an interesting one. Apparently, there's a number of these in the series. I think this is number 6, but it doesn't sort of call out number 6. These were produced by Radio Shack, comic books produced by Radio Shack, called Whiz Kids, and had a whole series. So this is the Fit to Win book. I just thought it was an interesting little pickup. I haven't done too much research on this, but just very, very 80s. And anyone who can remember Radio Shack and Tandy back in the day, I thought this would be a good one just to add to the collection, just to have there. But yeah, I mean, not a bad looking book. It was in very high grade. So for $2, can't really turn that down. Then we've got more Mephisto versus. So this is Mephisto versus the X-Men. This is number 3. I think that is, so there's that one. Then there's more of these gimmicky covers. So we got a Wild Star. Again, only bought this purely because of the gimmicky cover. But again, there was a number of these ones in the box. So clearly Wild Star didn't set the world on fire. Then I got the final issue of Speedball, issue 10. Not super high grade, but decent copy nonetheless. Good to have that. I was always a fan of Speedball. I know some people bag him, but I quite like the quirkiness and the sort of, the idea of trying to revert back to the 1960s and the Silver Age with the character. So not a bad pickup there. And then next, got these Infinity Inks. This is issue 23. I got 3 of them in the end. Was going through the box. So this is notable because it has very early Todd McFarlane art on the interior. So I think it's the first 3 pages here, or first 3 or 4 pages here, are Todd McFarlane art. You can start to see some of his trademark work here. But yeah, that's the first. I think the first 5 pages are Todd McFarlane in here. So I thought that would be a good pickup. These are reasonably good looking copies. And I mean, Todd McFarlane got his first published work with Infinity Inc. before moving to Marvel. What have we got from SideQuest? I think some of those Radio Shack comes with free promotional things they gave out. Not sure about the one you got. I think they all were. Yeah, exactly. But again, interesting just to pick up. I saw a few of those sort of promotional items at the recent Yarraville Comic and Toy Fair. So I thought, just picking those up. This one is fascinating. As I say, I will keep a couple of copies of these. I'm going to give one of these away later in the show because we are going to be doing a review of Todd McFarlane's Hulk series with Peter David next Merry Monday Mailcall. I actually have that arriving this week. So I thought it would be an opportunity to do a bit of a retrospective look back at that series. And so we'll give this away today as part of the stream. So stay tuned. That'll be coming relatively soon. So you can get a little bit of early Todd art in your life. Next up, we've got Son of Ambush Bug, issue number 2 and issue number 3 with the recreation of the Flash of Two Worlds cover there. Thought that was a good little book. I'm starting to collect the early Ambush Bug issues, so picked that one up. I think I'm like 1 or 2 issues away from completing the Son of Ambush Bug run there. And then on the $2 books, close us out with a little bit of Charlton. Nothing of too much of note, but given the fact that I'm collecting the E-Man run, which is notable because it's early John Bernhardt, thought I'd pick up this copy. It doesn't have John Bernhardt, as far as I remember, on this one. I think that started in issue 6. But just thought, if I'm going to collect those, I think there's 10 issues in total for the Charlton E-Man run. May as well pick up this book. Anyway, not great condition, as you can see here. So I'll replace that at some point, but super happy to grab that. Let's put aside our little giveaway for now. And then we come to the individually priced books. And I don't actually have the prices that I remember. I'll give you some sense of what I paid for these. They weren't too extreme in terms of some of them. I think I've got them here. Yes, here we go. So let's just see what we've got. So this Avengers, this is notable because it's the first where the Avengers get disassembled. So it's Brian Michael Bendis's piece. I think this led into the arc where Wanda destroys part of the Marvel universe. So this is notable issue. So great issue with David Fincher art, where the Avengers are essentially destroyed or disassembled, which is so I wanted to get that because that is reprinted, and I do like that storyline. So that one cost me $4. Then I managed to find this. So I got a Dave Stevens. This is special edition number 1, The Rocketeer. $15 I paid for this Australian, so that's $10 US. So I think I did okay with that one. As I say, I've just picked up some more of these. So this one's got a little sort of price sticker residue on here, but outside of that, it's in pretty good shape. Had a read of this, and it's amazing. You can see why Dave Stevens was so beloved. So super happy to grab that. Then I've got 2 copies, issue 5 and 6 of the 6 series. This is Albion, which was plotted by Alan Moore. So it's an Alan Moore book. I've got, I think, 1 to 3. So I'll finish this run and keep this. But these were $8 for 5 and 6, so $4 each. So again, not paying too much. I think it's about $2.50, $2.75 if you do the exchange. So super happy with that one. And then let me just see what was the price on this one. I think $4. There you go. So then I got this collector's edition of Hardware unopened in the poly bag. Thought I'd keep that. I'm going to try and get Static and the others from there. I think Icon in there as well. So $4. I was pretty happy with that. I got a Death's Head 2. What did I pay for Death's Head? $4 for Death's Head 2. with the death of Death Heads 1. Thought a nice little book from Marvel UK to add that to the mix. Got this collection of Strontium Dogs. So this is number 1 and number 2. Again, reprints from 2000 AD, early 2000 AD with Carlos Esquera art. Thought that was pretty good. That was $8, so I ended up paying $4 a book. So that ended up being, well, as I say, you're probably thinking about $2.75 each book, probably $5.50, $6 in total US. And then to close us off for these comic books that I picked up from the store, got a couple of these. I think these were from memory $10 each. And again, super happy. So this is essentially Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reprints of those classic Steranko issues. You've got part 1, which is actually still in its seal, and then part 2, which I think has the vast majority of the moves from the Strange Tales series through to the classic Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let me bring it up for you so you can see some of the amazing art in here. There you go. So Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. You get to see the reprints of that alongside some original art at the back. There you go. There's your... So given the fact that my copies of these books are now in for grading, this is a great way for me to be able to enjoy them when they get back. Keep your eyes out for code 11 and 12 by Epic for early Todd McFarlane. Found one in discount bin for $2. The series wasn't regarded well, so the whole run usually get put in the cheap bins. Agreed. Absolutely, totally agreed. And what's funny about that is they did have some coyotes at that store, and I left and then realized about 11 and 12 and rang them and said, oh, I missed the is there any coyotes in that box? I think they were in. And I remembered the box they were in. Is there any coyotes there? But they weren't 11 and 12, luckily. Otherwise, I would have rushed all the way back to the store to try and find those copies, because they, I'm with you. I recognize the need to get some Todd McFarlane art in my life, especially early stuff. So that's those. I thought you'd think you'd agree that pickup was pretty good. I've got another batch of books that came in from the UK auctions, and these are super interesting. So these came in this week. Let's move the Todd out of the way for now. Let's start. Won't mess with the original art just yet. We'll talk about these. So I've covered this on a previous Monday Mailcall show. This is fantastic. Fantastic and terrific, but this is a title that ran in the 60s from I think 1966 from memory, which reprinted a lot of the early Marvel Silver Age books. So it predates Marvel UK, and essentially these are highly sought after. This is a beautiful looking copy. I've never seen. It's got sharp corners, very, very little wear to the sides, and just beautiful throughout. What's notable about this one, and I'll take it out so you can have a look, it still has the free gift, and I'll show you the free gift in a second, but it still has this free gift, which is essentially a badge with replaceable characters that you could put in. So it's I'm a Fantastic Fan, but then on top of that you get Hawkeye, Doctor Strange, Cyclops, and Thor to be able to put into your badges. So I thought that was a fantastic thing to pick up. I shall probably get this graded, but I'm not sure how CGC is going to handle the badge. So it's likely that they would only grade the emblems and not the badge, and I would probably have to seal them within the book. But we'll see. I'm probably going to put a little note. There's a thread going on on the CGC boards at the moment around how they treat these types of magazines and tape and things like that, which I'm talking to. The other thing I wanted to show you is these amazing Barry Windsor Smith pinups that were on the back of these. Now, I didn't realize that they were Barry Windsor Smith when I was going through and reviewing all these on a previous show, these are all early Barry Windsor Smith before he became famous. So he used to do these pinups on the back of these terrific and fantastic comics. So this one's obviously of Marvel Girl, but he did probably, I'd say, about 75% of them. So I've submitted a few of these fantastics to CGC this last week and actually asked them to notate the Barry Windsor Smith posters on the back, because not a lot of people are aware that those were actually some of his earliest works. So again, another reason to be hunting down these really old vintage 1960s Marvel reprints. These don't have original stories in or original art like the Marvel UK books, but again, you do get some interesting stuff. Like, I think the Barry Windsor Smith art on top of those is really a good excuse to collect those books, because not a lot of people, early Barry Windsor Smith art. I like collecting early art from some of these greats when you can find them. So next up, we do have some original art. Talking of artwork, so these are from the Marvel UK season. This is Avengers number 33. This is a title that ran from the 70s. Now, I won this at the auction. The story behind this one is fascinating. So this is the original art boards that were produced for this story here at the back. So this is the Doctor Strange story, where man hath never trod. And within this, you can see here they've done a little bit of grayscale, which is what they call zipper tone, where they put translucent shading onto the comic book. And so you can see here there's some elements where they've done a little bit of gray on the original black and white art that they would have had, but it's not too. There's not a lot of it, right? So you're sort of looking there and going, well, it's just mostly black and white, and not a lot of zipper tone has actually been used. So the story goes that the artwork that was sent for this, and Marvel UK would have a whole bunch of these art boards sent over from the US that have been created. So you can see here the zipper tone, the grey scale. They would be sent over from the US, and they would then reprint them with that new grayscale zipper tone featured. So you can see here, look, there's a lot more grayscale being used in these boards than you see in the comic. Now, the story goes is that these got lost in the mail. And so the US team had to go away and essentially recreate the whole panels all over again. So you can see the difference between the two. They rushed this job and put very minimal zipper tone shading on, whereas originally you would have had, so for instance here, you would have had this line work here that is now missing from the book. So they found these, and because they were never used, they were just stuck in a drawer and saved. I was lucky enough to be able to pick them up from Alan Murray, the art director at Marvel UK, who still had these. The story goes, though, when they were delivered to me, they were in the bottom of a box, and I pulled out all of the comic books from the box. Unfortunately, I missed the artwork, and so I put the boxes out for collection to go into the rubbish. What ended up happening is that they stayed out there for, say, 2 or 3 weeks. They didn't get picked up, luckily. It did rain during that time. But I then went to empty the boxes and collapse them down to put them into the recycling bin. And at that point, I found these all sealed in their lovely plastic, fortunately, at the bottom of that box. So they were almost lost again to the tides of time. So these here have been lost twice and almost lost forever. So really happy that I managed to retrieve those from the rubbish bin. But a very scary story nonetheless. But again, this is another one that really showcases how the workflow between Marvel UK and the US team really works. So they would essentially order these boards to be created with the zipper tone. But you can really see the difference between the two pages, and we'll go through it because you can actually get a sense. So you can see here, again, this creature would have had much more zipper tone on it. This creature was completely covered in that sort of grey. So you really get a sense of how much effort they put in here. So this one's a really good one. Look at how much grayscale they used here versus what ended up being published in the magazine. So I'm doing my San Diego Comic-Con panel, and I'll be taking these with me to showcase to the panel just how the workflow worked in terms of, you know, even though these were reprints, they were recreations with shading throughout the storyline. So you didn't just get a just plain old reprint. They were actually recreating the artwork with shading to give UK readers a bit of a richer experience. So it wasn't just black and white. So again, the effort and work that the US team put in above and beyond really helped define the differences and why Marvel UK, I think, stands out in terms of how Marvel US and the UK work. They, to me, the Marvel UK books are essentially an extension of the US office, because these are brand new creations of art that have been made here. So look at this one here. That line, completely black and white. Even Doctor Strange has got some zipper tone over him. And here, where his astral self, you can see they've cut some space. Just a world of difference between the two. Shame that this one couldn't be reprinted at some point. And then to close us off, page 9, as you can see here, again, very much a lot of detail, a lot of zipper tone here that's missing on the final published version. So I'm really happy to have another example of these sort of art boards where you get to really see the process as they turned out in Marvel UK. This one's a unique one because you get to see the differences between what the artwork would have looked like versus what it ended up looking like, and shows you, that really gives you a sense of the workflow for Marvel UK. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I got a kick out of getting it and actually being able to save it from the rubbish bin. As I say, this missing piece of art, it's great to have back in full, safe and sound. And then we have another piece of original art. Now, Alan didn't do a lot of these, but I thought this one would be a good one to share with you. I saw this when it was available. So this is Spider-Man Comics Weekly number 72. Notable because it has this poster cover of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, on the back. Very cool piece of comic history. Thanks, SideQuest. That's very cool. Mike, great pickup. Thank you. I'm glad. I hope you liked it, because it is, as I say, I find these whole pieces fascinating. This one as well is like another one that I find fascinating. They didn't do a lot of this, a lot of original art. So when I saw this, I thought this would be a fantastic piece to pick up. So this is the original art piece that Alan did of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. It's cut out with this painted cover on the back and his classic lettering. He was a letterer by trade, I think, for the most part. But love his graphic design here. And it's actually a decent recreation of Marvel UK. I think in terms of the US style, that was always something they wanted to do. So thought I'd share this one with you. This, as I say, this came in the last week. So really happy to have this in my hands. Super, a really good piece of Marvel UK history to add to the mix there. And then to close us off for today's show in terms of the pickups for this week, this one is hopefully will be interesting to some of you. This is Doctor Who Weekly, which was first published in 1979, with all of the free gifts in amazing condition. And I kid you not, they're certainly in the 9s. We'll see how they grade out. I am going to be sending the first 4 of these and maybe a couple of other key issues in here to CGC for grading. But they are stunning pieces of work. These as you can see here, the transfers are attached via tape, but you can see the copy, the quality of the copy here. But what's beautiful about these books is these were all original strips created under the Des Skin era, who was the editor of Marvel in the 80s, the beginning of the 80s. He had a penchant for wanting to put original art and creators' work into Marvel Comics rather than it coming from the US. And so with these, you have Pat Mills and John Wagner writing Doctor Who with Dave Gibbons as art. And at the back, you've also got another classic British artist doing Return of the Daleks, which is David Lloyd, notable for V for Vendetta. Obviously, Dave Gibbons, notable for Watchmen. So you can see here they were utilizing a lot of that early British talent. And these books were then reprinted in Marvel Premiere and the Doctor Who series a couple of years later. But these are all original stories within. I think there's some reprints, just a couple of reprint strips of some of the classics, the H.G. Wells Marvel classics in the middle. But for the most part, 2 strips, brand new, and some features and posters in there. But to have, I think this is up to 31. So I've got 1 through 31, all in super high grade. And I'll be sending the first 4 off to CGC. But we'll go through them just quickly so you get a sense of the covers here. As I say, this one had the transfers attached to the cover. And then on issues 2, 3, and 4, the transfers are actually inserted. So you don't have to worry about the tape on the cover. But you can see the quality of these covers here is pretty phenomenal. So really happy to pick those up. And the fact that they're all original strips before they were published in the US. So the real first printings of these stories, it's a great little pickup to be able to grab. So this is Doctor Who. This is number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12 with that Dalek cover, number 13, number 14, number 15, number 16, number 17. This one has some K9 blueprints in there. There's only 2 graded copies of these books on the census. There's number 1, where I think there's like 3 books, and the highest grade is 9.2. And there's someone's graded a number 17. So this may be a key, and I may get this one graded. But that one does feature a blueprint of K9, Doctor Who's robot dog. And you've got issue 18. I think 17 and 18 has never been reprinted or wasn't reprinted in the US comics. It's a story called Time Slip it features multiple doctors. So I think that's why these are key and why that was graded. Then we've got issue 19, which features the first appearance of the Meek, which was recently featured on the Doctor Who specials that came out with David Tennant. So this one's notable because it is the first appearance of Meek. So I shall be getting that one graded, I think. Issue 20, issue 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Then they lose the numbering. So this is 26, 27, 28. And I think it jumps to 30 and 31. And I think I'm missing 20. I think I'm missing 29. So that's Doctor Who Weekly. It became a monthly, I think, shortly after that. I think it ran for 43 issues, I think, before it switched to a monthly. So, again, I might finish off the collection. Not a huge Doctor Who fan, but I just think the history of those books are pretty impressive. So, hope you got a kick out of that. Let's see. Wow, another stack we don't see a lot here in the US. I grew up with Doctor Who, love it. Well, as I say, very happy to have picked that up, and being super high grade, it's another great piece to add to the mix. So if we still have people with us, I think it's time to run the giveaway. So as I mentioned, let me bring this up to full screen so I can see you all. as I mentioned, I've got this copy of Infinity Inc. 23, issuing some early Todd McFarlane art, and I thought, given the fact that we have we've got a Todd McFarlane show coming next week, let's share this tab instead, and let's see if this works. Add to stage. So there you go. So the tag or the hashtag for it is Todd McFarlane, because we're going to be doing Todd McFarlane review or revisit of the Incredible Hulk work that he did. So we'll be giving away this copy of Infinity Inc. early Todd McFarlane art for you. So just put Todd McFarlane, hashtag Todd McFarlane in the comments, and you'll be eligible anywhere in the world. We'll send it out to you, and then we'll run this draw and see if we get any entries. No one's put one in as yet, but if you want to win a piece of Todd McFarlane history, put your name in or put Todd McFarlane in, and we'll do the draw. 7 of you in there, and there's no one entered yet. Come on. One of you wants this. Or do I just choose at random? Come on. Doesn't look like anyone's going to put anything in. So what we'll do is we might run this then next week. Oh, we've got Mike. Mike's put it in. Richard's put it in. You've got to put the hashtag Mike. You've got to put the hashtag in. So at least there's 2 of you fighting over it. So let's see. Come on, Mike. You've got to put Todd with the hashtag in to qualify. Otherwise, Richard takes it. Don't forget, issue 23, Infinity Inc. Early Todd McFarlane art. Let's take it out and show you again. There you go. Mike's in. We've got 2 entries. Anybody else? We'll give it another minute or so. I'm going to just show you some of that Todd McFarlane art in here. Look at that cat woman photo there, picture. Look at that. It might not show up. No side quest. It did not show up. You need to put it in again, unfortunately. And then we'll show you that lovely. That one's the one that you know it's Todd. That panel there. That's when you know this is early Todd. So grab yourself a copy. Let's pop this away. All right. I've tried multiple times. No, Eric had to try multiple times for some reason. Okay, so now it's all working. We've got 3 of you. Anybody else? Last call. We're going to draw it. Here we go. Let's see who picks it up. And it's Mike. Congratulations. Bit of Todd coming to you. So if you can reach out to me via IG, send me your address. I'll get that sent out in the next few days. And we'll have another giveaway next week. I'm going to start doing giveaways, start going through some of the boxes. If there's anything you want, I'll try and theme them to maybe the show that's coming post the next one, so that it's a little bit interesting and we're able to promote the show. So congratulations, Mike. That's great. All right, so that's the end of the show for this week. As I say, we've got the Todd Hulk coming next week. I'm still preparing the San Diego panel that I'll be doing for San Diego Comic-Con. That's almost finished, so super happy with that. And then last but not least, and some of you probably already know this, I've been nominated, or would seek your nomination for the CBC Awards. I think Best New Channel is one of them that I'm looking at or hoping to get nominated for. And then there's a whole bunch of categories in the 1 to 1,000 subscribers category. So I'm in there. I think this show has been nominated, which I'm very happy with and very pleased to see that. So the Merry Monday Mailcall Show is in the running. Thank you. It might not get to be voted for, but at least it's nominated. So thank you all in advance for that. I think my Deadpool and Wolverine key issues is also been nominated, as well as the channel for the best channel in that category. So thank you all for the support if you have nominated. And for those of you who haven't, please, I'll put a link in the description down below. If you could do that, I would be greatly appreciated. I think it's a great cause, and I've loved being part of it, and it really helps the community in terms of growing people's subs. As I say, I'll be doing a tag challenge this week, with my focus going to be on basically trying to grow smaller channels as well as put a couple of big channels in terms of the tag challenge. But I wanted to make sure that we sort of pay it forward for some of these smaller YouTube channels that are starting up over the next couple of weeks. And with that, I'm going to close the stream for today. I will see you all hopefully next week. It's been wonderful taking you through the books. Can't wait to go through more next week. Look after yourselves. Hope you had a great weekend, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.